Morning. Day 35, June 4th, 2022. Well, if you know me, if you've even met me and spent a little time with me, then you know that the Abner you see on these video blogs is not anything like the Abner you'll see in real life. I mean, the real me is surly and cantankerous and curmudgeonly. And that's on my good days. That's on the days when I'm feeling especially outgoing and extroverted. Most days I'm just quiet and reserved and hang back a little bit, don't speak until spoken to, that kind of thing. So, with all that as background, let me tell you about what happened last night. Now, all day yesterday, I had been pushing to get to a town called Dutton, Ontario, on account of I knew there was a burrito place there that was open for dinner, and I also knew that there wasn't anything there that was open for breakfast, so I couldn't stop short and waltz into town at 6 o'clock in the morning and expect to find anything to eat. And for various reasons, by the end of yesterday, I was feeling the usual surly and cantankerous and curmudgeonly. But I made it to the Burrito Brothers with time to spare, and the minute I walked in, there was a woman behind the counter, and she started asking me all kinds of questions about where I was going and what I was doing, and I answered as best I could. Then she asked, where do I sleep at night? And I said, well, last night I spent the night in a hotel. Tonight I'll probably free camp. Do you have any recommendations? And she went away and thought about it. And before I'd finished my burrito, she came back to the table and said, I can't think of any campgrounds, but my husband and I have a big yard. You're welcome to pitch a tent in the backyard if you like. Of course, you already know I don't have a tent. I sleep under the stars. But I didn't much like the camping options that I'd seen earlier that day. So I hemmed and hawed and said, sure, I'd like that. And about 20 minutes later, her husband drove up and gave me a ride back to their place. It was only a few blocks away. And within an hour, they had a fire pit going. They invited several friends over. And before I knew it, I was standing around a campfire spinning yarns. And that's what this trip has always been supposed to be about, is me telling tales in front of an audience. And it just felt so good to be out there again, spinning yarns and making people almost want to smile, that I completely forgot to get somebody to record any of it. But I ended up spending the night indoors, actually. I took them up on the offer to sleep in their spare room, and I stayed for breakfast the next morning, and then I told them another tale after breakfast, singing for my supper, only it was the morning meal instead of the evening meal. And I did record some of that, and I'll play some of that recording for you later. I don't want to play the whole thing for you, on account of it's a tale I like to do out loud, and I want to save it on account of, you never know, there might come an opportunity when I can tell you this tale in person, and I want it to be fresh when I do. So this morning we're heading for West Lorne now, and then on to Wardsville. We're back on the road again. And it's shaping up to be another lovely day. Last night I told you some stories about from the book, from the Legend of Pedestrio. Legend of Pedestrio takes place spring, summer, fall. This one takes place in the winter, and this was during the pancake winter. I don't know if you had the pancake winter around here. I call it the pancake winter on account of that was the year the blizzards came down, one right on top of the other, 6, 7, 8, 9 blizzards in a row till the snow piled up like a stack of pancakes. And pretty soon there wasn't any room on the plate for another pancake. But anyway, this story starts out the same way the last one did, with my friend Vern and I roaming around out there on Wildside, wading through the snowdrifts. And it hadn't snowed any new snow for a few days at this point, but a windstorm had blown through the night before, and it rearranged everything. It blew all the powder around and filled in all the tracks and covered all the sign. It made the whole world look new again. I didn't recognize anything. I was glad Vern was there. I figured he must know where the trail is. Anyway, I had just picked myself up off the ground for the umpteenth time after stumbling over yet another buried log when Vern said, "Keep an eye out for snow angels." I said, "Why? Do you feel inclined to make some?" And he looked at me like I had words written on my forehead, where he was expecting mathematical equations. He said, "You don't make snow angels, you free them." I said, "How's that?" He said, "Haven't you ever seen an angel stuck in the snow before?" I said, "No, but I've seen one stuck in a food cake." I got a groan. That counts. Saturday evening, Wardsville Woods, just outside Wardsville, Ontario. I'm kind of hiding out under a mix of pine and fir and looks like cedar or juniper trees. And I just pulled a tick off the back of my neck, and that's kind of the worst case scenario when you're soloing out here. If you've got a tick crawling around on your legs, that's one thing. You can see it, you can feel it, and you can easily pull it off before it latches on. But when you pull one off the back of your neck, this one hadn't latched on or anything like that. I could feel it crawling around. But when they're getting up into areas like the back of your neck that you can't see, well, that starts immediately. You start questioning, where else are they getting that I can't see? And immediately my scalp started itching, and I had to take off my hat and give myself a good scalp massage, see if I could knock off anything that was crawling around up there. I'm 2 days away from a hotel room where I can really check myself out. So hopefully that was the only one. And gosh, I guess we'll find out in a couple of days. You know, I have to say, the people I've met over the last couple of days have been exceptionally generous and helpful, or at least well-meaning. And I already told you about the couple I met yesterday who I ended up spending the night at their house. Well, today I had a similar encounter, only it went a little bit differently. This was an older gentleman. I was walking down a dirt road surrounded by cornfields, and this older gentleman saw me walking by and called me up to the porch. And of course, this plays into my fantasy I told you about back in eastern New York about an old farmer calling me up to the porch, and next thing I know I'm spinning yarns for his whole family. Well, this gentleman didn't have a family to spin yarns to, and matter of fact, he wasn't really interested in much of anything I had to say. He was more interested in bending my ear, which he proceeded to do for a good 90 minutes or so. And nice guy, fed me, gave me water, gave me, disappeared in his kitchen for a few minutes, and when he came back out, he said he had some dinner cooking for me. And I said, "Gosh, I wish you hadn't have done that. I don't really need any meals at the moment." But he wanted to be helpful, and so he was going to do what he was going to do, and I did my best with it, though I wasn't really all that hungry. Uh, but he was a bit of a teller of tall tales, I think. I mean, uh, he pointed out that he had a leg injury and went on to tell me that it was kind of too bad because now he couldn't do his figure skating. He couldn't do ballet anymore until his leg healed. And this guy is older than I am, and I think he was a little bit gimpy even before the leg injury. So I'm sitting there wondering whether he's going to pull both my legs or only just the one. And turned out, as it happened, I think he was going to try to pull both my legs because he found out I was heading for the west coast, going through Oregon, going through the Rocky Mountains, bear country, and he said you got to be prepared for bears when you get out there. And he started to tell me that black bears are the worst, he said. Brown bears, grizzly bears, they won't bother you unless you're going after their cubs. But black bears, why they'll attack you for food. They'll come up behind you, he said. Matter of fact, whenever I'm out there, I won't go more than 5 minutes before turning around looking to see what's behind me. He was mistaken with that, by the way. Black bears are easily the most timid of the bear families, at least here in North America. But he went on to say that what I got to do, I don't need to buy a gun or anything. I need to go into a gun shop and I need to get some predator spray, he said. And what you want to get is black bear in heat. Because if you're ever in an encounter with any kind of wild animal, or it doesn't have to be black bear in heat, it could be coyote or wolf in heat. And all you have to do, you have some of this spray on a rag and you just hold it up and wave it around, and anything you come in contact will just bolt right away. So, gosh, I'm looking forward to getting out west so I can try that.